Hello everybody, welcome to Principal Fishing, and today we're going to be doing part 1 on our crappie tackle boxes, hard baits.
So, this series isn't like our bass tackle boxes where we showed everything. We're just going to show what we would choose out on the water. This episode is more geared towards hard baits, weights, crankbaits, and spinners, even some bobbers in there, and hooks. Cullen's first with his selection of favorites.
Alright, so what I have a mini craw, a fire tiger, and what's the regular one called?
Ditch craw.
And a ditch craw. Those are really good to use.
What brand are they?
They are Rebel. I also have 5 kinds of jig heads. They'll tell you what sizes there are later on. I also have 3 just regular jigs. I have a crappie magnet, 2 regular jigs.
They're called grubs.
Yeah. And I also have a bobber, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Alright, Leo, you're up.
Next, and I'm going to start with the split shot weight. This one is a small crankbait. It is supposed to mimic a minnow. Crappie like to eat minnows. They're a good live bait to use. Next, I got a rooster tail. I wouldn't use this one for crappie because this one is a little bit bigger, and I would use it for smallmouth, but just to give you a hint of what a rooster tail spinner looks like. Now I got a orange and yellow bobber. Push that, and the hooks comes out of the bottom. This is my favorite bobber to use. It's orange, and it's got the little plastic piece up top and what comes out of the bottom. It's got a little weighted piece so you can cast farther, and that's why I like to use it. Next, I got 3 sizes of jig heads. I got an 1/8 ounce jig head.
That's a pretty good size.
Yeah, that is. A 32nd ounce jig head.
That's my second favorite size.
And a 16th ounce jig head.
That's my number 1 favorite.
That's the one I use most often.
Same for all of us.
Yeah.
That's
You
all
done,
my
Leo?
stuff.
Alright, here's my favorite weights, hooks, and stuff. The first hook that I'd like to show you is the one that I use most for crappie. It's just a little eagle claw Aberdeen panfish hook. You can use this with crappie nibbles, worms, minnows. You could use them with basically anything. You can use them for trout as well, but I'd more use the tiny ones that they make. The next hook I'm going to show you is a simple bait holder panfish hook. This is a slightly bigger one, more geared towards those bigger fish like crappie, bass, catfish. Just put a worm on there. It'll be nice and good. Then here's a split shot weight. The size I like to use, I believe this is a... One sec, let me compare the weight
It's a 1/16
with one of my jig heads.
It's a 1/16.
Just gonna make sure. Yeah, it's a 1/16 ounce lead split shot. Just snap a few of those onto your weight, a couple inches above the hook. It'll keep that bait down there, keep it from going back to the top. It will help it fall faster as well. Next are these jig heads. My smallest size, the size I like to use for those smaller like panfish assassin and mini crappie max squirm and squirt jigs, stuff like that. It's a 1/32 ounce jig head. This one's orange. It's a really good size for those smaller baits and jigs. Next is a 1/16 ounce jig head. This one also happens to be orange. I just use those on the medium-sized Bobby Garland jigs, you know, slab busters, stuff like that. Okay. And then there's the 1/24 ounce jig head. It's a special kind of jig head. It's like a dock flipping type jig head. It holds the bait on there, has those grooves. The one thing that I'm not a fan of about these with the ribs is it makes the bait bulge sometimes, you know. Like, especially if I use a smaller jig on this, it'll look really unnatural and weird. But they're still a pretty good jig head. Next is a 1/4 ounce jig head. This is a pre-rigged swim bait on it. Caught crappie, big sunfish, and bass on them. Even catfish. Did I show the 1/8 ounce? No, I didn't.
don't know.
I did not. Here's a 1/8 ounce. It's neon green, lime green, whatever you want to call it.
Lime.
That too. I use it on those bigger jigs and grubs. Next we've got hard baits. First I'm going to show the crankbaits. The crankbaits Cullen showed, they're a little bit bigger size crawdads, but I like to use the second smallest size
Yeah.
Rebel.
Yeah, his are a bit bigger than mine, as you can see. Show him.
You're gonna hook me, Cullen. Move out of the way.
Right.
This is I believe, either cream or arky one. It's like a silvery bronze type crawdad color. Catch bluegill on these at the local lake. Catch crappie on them as well. And then we've got the ditch craw color. It's a little bit more green. This is a teeny wee crawdad made by Rebel. Used this on an ultralight rod from 4-pound test line to 6-pound test line. Catch crappie, bass, bluegill. I've got a lot of different fish on this. Like, I've caught walleye and catfish on them as well. They were there when I caught that walleye in the creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't think you were there that time.
No, okay.
Then next I've got inline spinners, one of my favorite bait for any fish, really. First is this bucktail style inline spinner. I believe it's a 1/16 ounce. Use this for crappie, smallmouth, largemouth, even bluegill and trout. I've caught some big trout on bucktails as well. They were there. It was a nice trout.
Pretty big.
Yeah. About
He
this
actually
big.
caught a lunker one. Like,
Yeah, I uploaded a short of him releasing his 4-pounder.
it
That
was
was
21 inches.
That's the third biggest trout I've ever seen in person.
I also caught a 10-pound catfish, like on a worm and bobber.
Yeah.
We don't have
Just
video
like a
of that
little-
one, just a bigger bobber than this.
Yeah.
We don't have a video of that one, but we might post a video of him catching a 14-inch crappie at the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah. That's gonna be mounted soon, actually.
Yes. We're probably gonna put it like back here, right on the wall.
Nah, I'd put it downstairs because up here you guys are a little rough. Anyway, we're running out of time. Here's a white rooster tail single hook, 1/16 ounce. I use this for trout, crappie, bluegill, and bass. I've caught a lot of fish on rooster tails, especially the big trout. Big trout love these. Last is bobbers I'm going to show you. First is just this spring bobber made by Phil. I believe it's about 4 inches, 4.5. I use this mainly for worms and minnows. I more use this on like ponds and lakes more. Because I just don't really like how these move in big waves. You know, I just use these in more of a smaller body of water. Next is the weighted foam bobber. I use these more for crappie in bigger lakes because it has that weighted bottom. And in my opinion, they're just overall better for live bait like minnows. It slides down real nice. It's just my favorite type of bobber for crappie. That's the end. So, just pick up the camera.
Remember, our dogs are watching you. Remember to subscribe and
2, 1.
Good luck fishing.